Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
And also joining us this week, we have a guest. Yes, we have Barney coming from Powerhoof. Powerhoof? Powerhoof.
Powerhoof, yep.
Powerhoof. There you go. I knew I'd get that wrong. Welcome. Welcome to Bitstorm.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. Do you want to tell our audience just a brief bit about who you are, where you work, what you do?
Sure. We have a little games company called Powerhoof, which is two of us. We used to work at, I guess, what was called AAA in Australia, but it was, not the most inspiring sort of stuff. And so maybe 4 years ago now, myself and my mate Dave quit, thinking we'll maybe spend a year, have a go at making a game that we actually care about, and then, it'll be a failure and we'll go and beg for our old jobs back. But that's a good 4 or maybe even 5 years ago now, and we haven't begged for our jobs back yet. So, we're pretty stoked.
That's awesome. And so, the two games you've been working on or have released are Crawl and Regular Human Basketball.
Yeah, so, the first game was Crawl, which was a dungeon crawling game that's local multiplayer where all the monsters and traps in the dungeon are controlled by the other players sitting next to you on the couch. And that was our kind of starting out idea that we were like, maybe this will take 4 months or 5 months. We'll just do a tiny little starting game to test this out. And then
I know how that goes.
Yeah, that was full 4 years of development.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a super fun game. We played a bunch of it at our last boys' weekend, which is the time we get together to actually do couch games.
Yeah,
but,
awesome.
It's great.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been really surprised how many people are doing that these days. Actually organising to get people together.
It's great. Look, we grew up around LAN parties and stuff, and I miss that so much. So when we can, we do still get together and jump on a couch and play some local co-op stuff.
Yeah. I was just lucky enough to grow up with my aunt had 8 kids, and we kind of lived with them for quite a while. But so generally we go around to their place and have, always at least another 2 or 3 kids to play games with.
Yeah, nice.
And so, my kind of idea of multiplayer gaming is always imagining a bunch of people actually sitting there around you, but totally. It's a hassle to, it can be a huge hassle to organize now. Now we're grown ups, so
we're all grown ups. Yeah, some of us have kids and jobs and other things. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's hard. So we're gonna just do something a little bit new on this episode because we haven't had a game dev on for a while. This show is all about that sort of moment of inspiration, coming up with an idea, and we obviously use the random word generator to help that. But do you have a moment in either for Crawl or Regular Human Basketball? Do you recall the moment where that sort of idea struck with you and Dave, and you kind of couldn't stop talking about it, and just wanted to keep fleshing it out and just thinking of that initial sort of that light bulb moment?
I mean, the moment of that with Crawl was just we sort of had a little multiplayer game jam thing going. And I just thought, I really want to make a little dungeon crawler, but I don't know. I wouldn't be able to make any AI or anything in time. So if I got the other people to control the monsters, I could probably get a whole lot of that going with hardly any work. And that was really all it came from. And that was, I think it was probably when we actually went around and played the game, and it was just miraculously a lot more fun than it had any right to be, considering how little work actually went into that first prototype. And we were like, damn, I guess the other people are just creating all the fun and the game doesn't really have to do anything. This is great.
Yeah, fantastic. That's good. Yeah. No, game jams are good for that. Trevor and I did our first game jam together at the Global Game Jam this year. We had a lot of fun.
You were camping out cool. in the space and everything, or
yes. We did.
Yeah. I've never tried that. That's it seems a bit intimidating to me, but I am keen to check it out sometime.
It was fun. All right. Well, I think we'll get into Click Pitch. So for those who haven't listened before, Click Pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, we will each click refresh and get a new word, and we'll take those 3 words tonight and mash them together into a game design. Just riff off it and see what comes to us, and hope it turns into something good. And don't worry, Barney, the bad ones we throw away on the cutting room floor. So.
What's the legality if I steal one of these and turn
go
it into
ahead? Yes, absolutely. We encourage it.
Awesome.
As long as there's some credit, That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Okay, I got suffocation.
I got official.
Reading.
Official reading, suffocation. Okay, so, we could take suffocation literally, or we could have it some sort of compressing, feeling suffocated in a relationship.
I'm almost seeing this as it's a official will reading, and someone suffocates in this at the will reading. Yes.
Or it could be that the person who died suffocated.
Yes.
As well.
So,
all right, yeah, okay. I like the idea of a will reading. How do we turn that into a game? Or it could be sort of a narrative thing.
A will reading thing. Sorry. Could
go ahead. Yeah.
Could be a bit of a Jackbox sort of party pack style thing where you're, you've got to construct a will out of some junk that you've got randomly coming up on your screen, and then the other people judge you on, who had the best will for the whatever the random generated character or whatever was.
Yeah. Or it could even be some sort of, because I think, did they do one where you bid on each other's art? It could kind of be something like that where the players are all the people who are listening to the will reading.
Yeah.
And they have to do something private on there. There's negotiations over who gets what.
Yeah.
With the will sort of being, I don't know. There's some interesting stuff there.
Yeah. Who gets the best stuff.
Yeah. It's like grandma suffocated and, or maybe it's that she didn't have a will. And so they're reading out all the different things that all her possessions. And so, it's negotiating for who gets her pearls and who gets her TV. And
yeah. Or maybe she's written up some fairly oblique kind of rules for why a person, instead of saying this just goes to Johnny, it's this goes to, my favorite, strongest relative, and then they've got to somehow try and sort of battle to show that they're the one who fits that rule.
Oh, that's good, because then the other people can judge as well. Yeah. Maybe it's a sort of where they pit 2 people against each other, and you have to somehow come up with something that says
like a Cards Against Humanity sort of thing where they'll each sort of put out their proposal, and then the person who's taking the cards that round or whatever will choose, this guy would definitely win.
I like that. That's some interesting stuff you could do there. Because you could really, have each person be a character, and maybe you can affect the way the character looks or I don't know, animates on the screen or something. I really like just that mechanic in general of the Jackbox thing, because it's very hidden knowledge. You have each character have hidden knowledge and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And the idea that everyone has to really be in the same room, but they can all be on their phones, and then you've got that sort of couch co-op thing happening, but it's also
everyone has their own controller, basically.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I like being able. I really like the I guess Cards Against Humanity and a whole bunch of other games do this thing where you're just using the humans to judge something really esoteric that, you couldn't really program conditions to analyze people's answers, but you can easily get a person just go, yep, I like this one more, this fits it better. And so you can do more kind of mushy, grey, silly kind of human-ish things and still have a very clear point system and progress towards winning.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
So it could also be, like you were saying before about you trying to win by matching the description that's in the will. At the end of the game, basically you could have it that you're tallying up all the dollar values to see who actually won in from Grandma's will.
Well, I wonder if what it could be then, because I was trying to think of how do you pit these things against each other? Maybe every person has sort of a deck of cards, or where each one is maybe an event or something, like something that happened between them and the person and the grandmother, where it's just sort of it could even be a little animation or just an image with a text description or something. And so, when she says, my pearls go to my strongest nephew, it's like, all right, well, that knocks out a couple of people because they can't claim their nephews, but they can then put forward maybe even a combination of, well, these two things that happened with me and Gran prove that she'd think I was the strongest, and the other person sort of has to put others forward, and then everyone gets to vote on which of those actually fits that criteria best. But of course, each card could fit multiple criteria, so if you use up one card that could work better later for something that was worth more or something like that.
But of course, you don't know what they're worth until the very end, when you find out that the pearls were plastic and
so there's like a valuing kind of mode at the end where you get them all valued and realize that was the
beaten up old music box had a whole set of Rare Magic the Gathering cards in it.
So I guess if there's some way that you're kind of gambling on which ones you think are going to be more valuable. Maybe you can only use your cards once or something. So you're like, I've got this good card. Should I use it on this? On this. Oh, I don't know, actually. Maybe keeping the cards across the board, because I think coming up with different interpretations of the use of the card is probably a lot of the fun.
Well, maybe it goes back into a pool and you like deal, you draw each round or something.
Yeah.
This could even actually be just a regular card game.
Totally.
And the person who's selecting is called the executor. The executor of the will.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of this as a Jackbox thing, because you could do a lot of fun little animations, and I actually really like that idea again of that Jackbox model sort of being a card game enhancer. It could just have very regular sort of card game mechanics, but because you've got a computer there that's doing stuff, you could really animate things and make it really interesting. So,
I mean, there's a lot of like the sort of esoteric things of saying, you once fed like auntie's dog or something, and then you arguing for, well, that means I was strong because of this, or that means whatever. The Jackbox thing allows you to maybe have like drawing and things on the screen go into that. So it could be like, this is a picture of you, and it can just throw up a randomized picture of some kid. And then you've got to go, why does that kid display that he's strong? And like, he's, like red t-shirt.
You have to actually argue it. Yeah,
exactly. So you could use the screen and a lot of visual things there.
Totally. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
I like it a lot. Let's click again.
Let's click again.
3, 2, 1, click.
Vent.
Access.
Well, sensible.
Sensible vent access.
So this instantly just sounds like some sort of stealth game where you just have to be incredibly, incredibly safety aware and sensible.
Yeah, and I think you're there for a legitimate reason.
Yeah,
it's like you're the like HVAC like repairman, but there's a meeting going on beneath you, so you just have to be really quiet. Yeah, I don't know. I could feel this. We have a tendency to go towards VR games.
Okay.
So I feel like you just to really create that claustrophobic sense of being in the vents and make them have to do the sort of army crawl movement to get through the vents. Like that's how you move forward. It's really difficult to go backwards. You can't see what's behind you, but there's vents everywhere. So you can get a lay of the land and a sense of where you are.
I'm now picturing that you have to physically lay down.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to force them. Yep. All right.
Maybe you can be judged because the thing will be sensing your posture to some extent. You can be judged on how sensible your posture and your your style of how good it was for your back and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's not ergonomically a correct way to crawl through vents.
Yeah.
You're not laying down on your stomach. Your head is now intersecting with the vent.
Yeah, that's not sensible at all.
So what are your goals then? I mean, other than fixing the air conditioning, well, I guess maybe that is your goal. But what are your obstacles?
There's an alien in the vent.
Oh God. Well, let's start with rats, and we'll build up to aliens
for the harder levels.
Yeah, and you're actually on a spaceship
in typical RPG style. Start with rats, kill some rats, and then.
I like the idea of. Well, maybe it is a more sci-fi thing because that could give us some interesting tools and stuff where you have to kind of figure out what these weird sci-fi future tools look like, but you're still just the air conditioning repairman. You're the person on a spaceship who has to deal with the ventilation, and that's a huge thing on a spaceship, I imagine.
Yeah,
and also it brings the risk of venting all of the oxygen into space and killing your entire crew.
Yeah,
ups the
using
stakes
the laser
a little
cutter at the wrong spot.
Yeah, exactly. And then that brings in the idea of aliens in the vents are a bit more in fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, that I'm just picturing how claustrophobic the whole thing is actually going to be, and you're really not going to want to be in there for very long. So,
no, I think that's the idea. It's going to get an extreme on that like comfort level thing in the VR store or whatever. No, I think that I don't know. It's just got some interesting mechanics that you could play with there.
Yeah,
and VR is so ripe for new ways of doing things.
As soon as there's any discussion of VR, I just go into this death spiral of worrying about how you move around, how are you supposed to move around in there, and all these unsolved movement issues.
Well,
I'm like,
with crawling, it's literally you move the hand forward and you hold down the trigger and you pull yourself forward and you just have that sort of movement happening.
I think that's how you do it. Yeah, that'd be an interesting experiment to try to see whether that movement. We don't worry about like the actual logistics of the ideas.
I know. But it sends me into this kind of just pondering and kind of, nope, this is a bad idea. Nope, that's a bad idea. Nope, that's a bad idea.
So the other thing I would like to see is some like eavesdropping missions that you have to be very quiet going through.
But
the
Trevor,
vents.
is that sensible? Maybe you get judged on your sensibleness.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd like to see things go. That maybe you are a spy and you do have to do some over the top stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also someone at the bureau who's really serious about this being above board and very sensible, and so you're trying to balance performing these death defying kind of stunt, spy stunts, and also remaining extremely sensible. And there's some criteria for your sensibleness.
Somehow you have to trick them into signing a waiver for being recorded, like their conversation being recorded.
Yeah.
You just slip the piece of paper out of the vent. Sign this, please.
This is just your little waiver, just to make sure that you're fine with me recording that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, fixing the ventilation. That's good. All right, I think let's click again.
3, 2, 1, click. Logic.
Answer.
Payoff.
Ooh. Could be, a lot of kind of puzzle type games, really.
Yeah, it might be because I've been playing Mafia 3, but Payoff makes me think of like protection.
Yeah.
So logic, answer. So maybe you're a part of the Vulcan Mafia. You're trying to get answers. You're trying to get answers for who killed Cavini. How would that work? Well, organized crime in the Star Trek universe could be interesting.
Well, maybe instead of paying them to put pressure on people, you're paying them to make sure all the answers are very logical and above board for your Vulcan sensibilities.
Yeah, well, maybe that's how you get answers out of people. You have to, like, trap them in these logic traps because it's all other Vulcans and they're trying to hide things, but you have to convince them how the most logical path forward is to spill your guts.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, I like the idea that this is the other side of the game we just made, and these are the conversations that the spy is eavesdropping on.
Yeah. So I mean, this also could be your like some muscle, hired to extract answers from someone, but instead of torturing them, you're sworn to only use logic because you're a Vulcan or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess how could this work from a gameplay point of view? Because I feel like
dialogue trees.
Yeah, I mean, like there could be a little bit of Phoenix Wright, I suppose. There's there's that whole thing of kind of catching someone in a lie or just picking the right thing. Yeah, in a dialogue tree, I guess, but sort of having to remember previous information. Where
there's a lot of watching people. I mean, it could be a FMV game where you're just watching sort of cheesy recordings of Star Trek style guys with stuff glued to their foreheads that are pretending to be aliens. That you're trying to pause it and kind of spot them at points where they've said something contradictory.
Yeah, a bit of her story in there, like kind of watching the videos and catching the logical fallacies and things.
Yeah,
that could be interesting for sure.
Definitely.
I feel like we need to go into a bit more of the characters in this one. What does a Vulcan Mafia look like? What do they do? Are they rebelling against logic? Presumably not, because this is how you're trapping them. So maybe it's just that through some manner of argument, they've come to the logical conclusion that they must shake people down for money and.
Yeah, I think in a society where people are generally a bit more violent, the mafia, uses violence to get their way. But in this logical society, they're just like much more logical, and they use the most like strong-armed form of logic to just force people to do what they want.
They just go around convincing people that the logical path is to give us all your money.
Yeah. But it's just the most like brutal kind of form of logic that most Vulcans wouldn't stoop that low.
Well, logically, you don't want your legs broken, so so logically, you give me all your money, and this bat doesn't come in contact with your knees.
Look, we're pacifists, but that's why we have a Klingon with us.
Yeah,
and logically. 3, 2, 1, click.
Connecting.
Expedition.
Thinning.
Ooh. All right. I mean, expeditions generally have a lot of thinning, right? A lot of starving.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of thinking. You're up Mount Everest or something on an expedition.
See, I was taking thinning as in you start out with a large group of people, and it gradually thins down to 1 or 2 people left.
Yeah, well, that's also a classic expedition trope. So what about connecting, though? How does that?
The wrist bone connects to the bone. The tasty human flesh connects to my fork.
I mean, maybe the gameplay can involve trying to make some connections to avoid your group thinning out in terms of starving and in terms of many of them dying.
Actually, that's an interesting point in that you could explore the relationship dynamics between a group like that. You're making emotional connections so that when it comes to decide who dies next to feed the group, you have to like have made good connections with the right people.
Okay, so it's now just turned into like a 12-person PUBG, but instead you're having to talk to people, and if you don't make a good enough connection within the 5 minutes before the next person gets chosen,
so it's just like power friending to
It's like speed dating, but speed friending. Yeah, this could almost be a good in-person game. I feel like this would work well as a like corporate retreat icebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, this is very like Survivor and all those things, right? This is basically exactly what those games are, right?
Is, yeah.
It's
we just
like,
put them in the cold on a mountain instead.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
Okay, so it's Survivor the game. So you got like mini games in between each one. I'm thinking like you got time for alliances, you got then time for the quick mini game, and then it's voting, and everyone votes at the same time as to who they, whoever won the mini game gets to choose who gets voted out of the other side. So it basically then becomes that you could probably have a whole game going over in maybe 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, well, what could be interesting here then? Because I assume we're thinking multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes the most sense around the voting and stuff, again, from that going into the grey fuzziness of using people to make your gameplay. But it could be around having to get to the top of the mountain. The different characters have different skills.
Yep.
But there are also these mini games where you have to work with one or two other people, and you could probably design them in such a way that depending on how you do in that game and the sort of behavior you have in that game, you'll either, the other people working with you will either like you or dislike you. And I'm actually thinking no other communication or no other, like no voice chat and stuff. I'm thinking it's literally just, they've got a character, their name, and then so that when it comes to voting, it's like, all right, well, they're really strong, but they're also a real dick when we, did that, like, starting the fire mini game because they
were just teabagging me the entire time as I'm trying to light the fucking match.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you need some sort of forms of expression where you can make the connections, but
yes,
I'm thinking emojis, like you can put happy faces and sad faces and
just a few emotes and things probably. Would be good. And then, but if it comes to the point that, well, we killed that guy off because he was a dick, but we got to a place in this procedurally generated mountain, of course, where we needed someone to pull us all up a rope, and we ate the strong guy because also he had a lot of muscle.
Yeah, so I guess that would be part of the thinning would be that, well, you need to thin down the herd in order to get fed and survive. Yes. And so it's a tough balance between eating people to gain strength and actually connecting with them. I'm sure eating people would probably diminish the connections with the people that person was connected with. And so you might need to use them for something, so you've got to be like, oh, no, we're not going to eat you, or we won't eat your buddy, but, we need you to do this to help us get up the mountain sort of thing.
Yeah, there's an interesting web of needs there, I think.
Yeah. Like the need not to be eaten and the need to eat.
Exactly. And so is there a role then? And look, speaking of your games, Barney, this is something that Crawl did so well. Is there a role there for what the people do after you've eaten them? Because I'm trying to think of like, if you're starting with 12 people or something, the first person to get eaten, what are they hanging around for?
Well, maybe they've got a mini game to be digested and to really try and mess up the system of the guy who's just eaten them.
They can choose sort of whose digestive system.
And you could even sort of strategically, if you think you're going to get eaten, you might have kind of cards on a few of these characters. So if you think he's going to get eaten, get him to do some really unhealthy stuff leading up to that so that he'll really mess up whoever's just eaten him afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing that like in Survivor, you've got an immunity idol. But, I mean, if someone's really, really sick, you're probably not going to want to kill him and eat him. So maybe it's like also the sickness immunity idol.
Yeah. But so that's also a good risk reward of like, well, you want to be sick enough that no one wants to eat you, but not so sick that you die.
Yeah.
Or you can't
or that you're
win the mini game.
Or that your skills can't be used effectively. Yeah.
And then to get one of your characters maybe secretly sick, but have him looking very fit and delicious in some way.
Because they're going to pick you anyway, but it's going to give them all diarrhea.
Yeah.
They're not going to. It's just you want to spite them. They're not going to make it to the top of the mountain.
I'm thinking a la Crawl, you actually have the people who do get digested as well and have to do their little things. They also control elements of the mini games. So it sort of becomes the mini games become harder and harder the further you go, because you get more people and more people.
It's basically the mountain is more haunted by the angry souls of the freshly eaten friends. Yeah, it sounds great.
And again, you want to make those connections because you don't want the people who have died to be targeting
to hate you too much. Yeah, that's really good, actually. And that's a very good progression curve of you start with a whole lot of capable characters and nothing to control all the hazards to be flung at you from the mountain. And then as you progress, you've got less people capable of dealing with this stuff and much more hazards being flung at you from the mountain. So, it's good.
Yeah, and possibly specifically you if you're an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. But because as it gets down to you, you've obviously almost definitely betrayed the most people. So trying to make those best connections that you've somehow got on people's good sides, that they're not furious with you, and you've kind of tricked individuals into thinking, oh, no, this was kind of his plan for you to get eaten at that time, not me, so that, everyone's not against you once you're...
Yeah. I guess once you're the final person, they're probably all going to be against you. But, if you're in the final 2 or 3, you want the other people to be targeted above you. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm wondering when the final person reaches the summit or whatever, what the winning message is. How PUBG has winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's an appropriate one as well, I think.
Climber, not a whiner. Because that's how you made the connections, because you didn't whine at all about doing the jobs.
Or winner human dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That might be the name of the episode. All right, let's click again.
All right.
Yeah, that was good.
3, 2, 1, click.
I've got ordering.
Observatory.
Apparatus.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Oh.
I mean, that's a pretty action-packed game right there. How many telescopes do you need?
Yeah, what's in the budget? Now we can get 2 small telescopes.
Well, I do have 2 eyes, so all right, I'll go with that.
One for each. Get double the observing done.
I can observe 2 things at once.
Yeah.
So my mind definitely went to like some sort of sim observatory game definitely. Where you're like placing down.
You've got to work your way up in the observatory world, and you start off with a small budget, and you can only afford a little bit of stuff. But
you start off as a little girl on her back deck with a cheap ass plastic telescope.
Yeah, and work your way up into the big leagues of cutthroat observatory.
Politics.
Well, I'm thinking that the observatory, they have got a planetarium sort of thing, so that you've got to like hire someone to actually talk about, the stars and stuff within this planetarium, and then you can have different management aspects, as much as that I hate these sim games.
Oh, I do. I was actually going to try to take it into a different direction if we could think of anything, but it sort of lends itself to it so well.
Yeah,
I know. Almost too well. Okay.
All right, well, let's think of something else, because an observatory can also be like a type of room, right? We'll all go to the observatory. Isn't that...
Yep. So, I mean, that makes me think of very much those old Cluedo and stuff like that. Someone was... someone's been killed. Oh, so Cluedo, was all about, did he get killed with the candlestick? Did he get killed with this in the observatory? So maybe this is a person who's ordering all this equipment for the observatory in preparation for someone being murdered, or trying to minimize how many people will inevitably be murdered with the various candlesticks. And to be honest, candlestick is the only one I can remember.
I love that idea that they're just creating this apparatus out of, but it's only created from candlesticks and what was it, lead pipes, poison, rope. Yeah, it's some strange Rube Goldberg device designed to kill one person and then get away with it somehow. Yeah. It's like, well, but I've got an alibi because
I was in the observatory.
I was in the observatory and the gun went off in the library.
ignore this incredibly long sort of pile of candlesticks leading from the observatory back window.
Or this fallen domino setup of candlesticks that triggered the lead pipe to fire the gun.
Yeah, that's probably unrelated.
I don't know where the game is on that. It was just a funny thing to think about.
Yeah,
solving it, I guess, but yeah.
3, 2, 1, click.
Shoot, as in CHUTE.
Ooh, I've got proof.
Crossword.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you can have a shoot where you kind of shovel down all the proof, all the crossword proof. Proof of
crossword.
Yeah.
Proof. That's it.
Do you generate a lot of proof when you're solving a crossword? I think you probably do.
It's sort of you subconsciously fill in the words with a confession of your crime, right? Like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's like 36 down. I killed. Shit. Wait, throw that out. Down the chute.
Yeah. 26 across. Oh, this bloody handkerchief that I used to. Oh, no. Oops.
Nope. Oh, that's not it.
Okay, so I'm starting to see, like, if you think about whenever you've seen an apartment in New York in a film or something like that, they've always got like a garbage chute.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking is it's a narrative game where you're sitting there and you're doing your morning crossword.
Okay.
And you hear like something get stuck in the trash chute.
Okay.
And it's just outside your
apartment.
So you go out and have a look, and I don't know whether you find a bloody handprint or something like that.
Yeah. So
and from then on, you're sort of trying to work out via gaining proof who in the building actually did the murder.
So maybe this is a rear window kind of thing where you're a bit like locked in your room just doing your crosswords, and you're trying to simultaneously solve your crossword, but also rummage through the garbage from the chute of all your neighbors to find proof of all the horrible murders that they've been doing.
Yeah, I like that idea that you're kind of a social hermit a bit.
Yeah.
Like you don't actually want to talk to anybody in your building.
Yeah.
So the sort of things you have to do are looking through your little, what do you call it, in the door?
Yep. Looking
through the thing. Yep, looking through the people in the door, so you get like that cool fisheye view of what's going on outside. Doing your crossword.
Yeah.
And then if no one's around when you look at the people, you can go and sort of
rummage through
the guff. Yeah, well, it's a chute, so how can you rummage? I guess there's someone stuck in it. the garbage keeps piling up. But you start to get a sense of all the people around you and sort of building up these ideas of who is in the building and what their motives might be and who it was that died, obviously. I like the idea of an investigative game where you literally are just doing it from your room.
Yeah, I think it could be that all you're actually trying to do is solve a crossword, but annoyingly to you, you do actually have to solve some of the murders in the house, by finding the right proof that's been thrown down the chute,
right.
In order to get the correct answers for some of these crossword things. So all you want to do is really to solve your crossword, but you get sort of sucked into it.
Well, what could be interesting, maybe you are actually like the janitor or the super of the building or something.
Yeah.
And so you were down in the garbage room doing your crossword.
Okay.
And when a body came down the garbage chute. And you still don't want to be bothered. And you've still the same thing. You're looking at the peephole, but you're seeing people coming and going from the building out the peephole. And also the garbage that's getting thrown down. You can then look through it and you can determine things about the people who are living in the building.
Piecing together evidence from the different garbage. Like when you look through whatever your peephole into the wall or, into the hall or something, and you see, the door from number 6 is open and that person's come out. And then shortly after that, there was, a particular, like a bloody something or other thrown down the chute. You're like, exactly. Okay, here's the proof. And that's number 6, that guy there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Really having to match the comings and goings of the people up with what's being thrown in the garbage.
Or, I mean, it could be also sort of the other way where you're the killer. And you know how on all those serial killer things, the serial killer is, for some inexplicable reason, kind of creating these like brain teasers for the sort of investigating, guys to solve. They're creating like almost like little Sudokus and things with bits and pieces of the, of the proof to kind of bait them along to the next thing.
Totally.
I never quite know why, like they're doing that, but. Yeah,
well, maybe it's that the killer is doing that and you're just really good at crosswords. And so the police keep like slipping them under your door. Like you're known. It's like, oh, God damn it. There's another one of these serial killers baiting us on with crosswords. All right.
Yeah.
We've got that guy in the building down. he can solve them really well.
Yeah.
I really like that general idea of, the very Rear Window-esque solving of the crime based
the shoot thing could also relate into your just being a shut-in in that, you don't want to talk to people and so they just communicate with you by like a dumb way to kind of shoot sort of thing that they're sending down the crosswords and your kind of, little meals and stuff.
Yeah, that's how they said it. Well, I like the idea of it being a garbage shoot just because you can do some really interesting puzzle stuff there of like, oh, we saw, Mrs. Jones bring the groceries in and I saw that she had a big tin of Milo.
Death Milo.
Yeah, death, exactly. and then that empty tin came down with, a bloody glove in it.
Yeah.
And for one, who finishes a giant tin of Milo that quickly?
Yeah.
So she's wasting it.
If you looked out in the hall, you would see that the dead body there was covered in Milo. And you're like,
exactly. Right. The Milo killer. All right.
God.
Let's click again.
3, 2, 1, click. Washing.
Speed.
Condor.
Oh. All right.
Well, condors are fast.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about a condor who got a car washing job.
Yeah, he's like a speed condor.
Yeah, he can't slow down. So you have to like aim your sponge, as you slide across the top of the car really as fast as you can without hitting it.
You've got some kind of time limit that you have to get these cars washed really quick with this condor.
Maybe multiple condors, and you have to like make sure they don't run into each other. Sort of a puzzle game.
Yeah,
around hitting every spot.
What if it wasn't just car washing, but he had a washing business? So he did window washing and car washing and like clothes washing,
dog washing.
You've basically got a whole heap of different levels that you can create. Like, I'm imagining the window washing would be on the easier side because it's sort of like you got 4 sides to a building.
Yeah, so you can kind of just zoom across the whole thing.
That's level 23 of this building. Side 1 is done.
Yeah. Okay.
You could be like a WarioWare style game where it's just basically like you're a condor, you've got to wash things, and it's just going to throw up different washing mini games for the condor, and you have to get through them really, really quickly.
Yeah, like throw up. You have to clean up the throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting, and it comes down to you can only. Because you're going so fast, you can only go in straight lines and you can't turn too often because you have to sort of do a big arcing turn to come around. So, it's about solving them quickly with the fewest turns. Yeah, that could be.
I guess the biggest danger with a condor is that it accidentally mauls somebody. So maybe if there's people around, you've got to really avoid coming in too much contact with them.
Yeah, you have to minimize the damage you do to people.
I earned $12 from washing his jacket, but I did maul him, so maybe minus a few hundred for medical bills.
Oh no, that lady's hanging out a blanket or waving a blanket out of the apartment window, and you just take her arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the negative point score, definitely, on that level. Sorry, Condor Jim. Yeah, I don't know. Do you?
I got nothing else.
Nothing else. All right, let's click again. That was a tough one. Click.
Push.
Media.
Drug.
Ooh.
This is political. We're going to
yeah. All right. You've got to push some drugs, make some ads, convince people they're good.
Say the list of side effects as fast as possible.
Well, I was actually thinking that media was like physical media, as in like DVD or something like that. So,
yes.
It's all about
making like a billboard or a poster.
I was thinking it's more around you're hiding the drugs within DVD cases and
I was thinking what's on the DVDs is the drug.
Ooh.
So you've come up with some way of addicting people to like music or movies or something, and so you're pushing that on them.
So is this getting a bit video game reflective about
Oh yeah, totally.
Clicker games and horrible and
just to be
game addiction.
Super ironic, we'll make it a clicker game with microtransactions
and try and make it as addictive as possible.
Yeah, totally. But it's
to make
all
it
about
a point. It's a statement game.
Definitely. So yeah, you've got the different levels. So initially, you're just handing out DVDs that you've burned with. I don't know, what is this addictive thing that's on the DVDs?
Teletubbies.
There you go. Yeah, it's some like brainless kids show, but for some reason there's something about it that they can't be stopped watching. And yeah, you click enough times, and then you convince people to sell it for you, and then you get ways to get it more directly into their systems through streaming and brainwaves. I don't know what it could be on that. Jeez. Come on, guys, jump in.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Dig up, Ben.
This one's just a bit heavy.
I've definitely dug myself into a hole there. All right.
Yep, 3 to 1 click.
All right, evening.
Concentrate.
Optimum.
Ooh. So an evening of optimum concentration, whatever that is.
You're on a date, and your date really is very specific about how they like their cordial. And so you have to get the optimum concentration.
It says here, 1 part cordial to 9 parts water. Okay.
And they're like, no. I have a taste for it. 7.5 parts water. I like it a little bit sweeter.
Maybe your date just has a lot of things that they require a very specific way. They talk extremely fast, and then you have to go and set it up and try and set up the evening to have everything being just right, from remembering their super quick kind of explanation of whatever
types of food and drink and
yeah, exactly. And then it's
what they're allergic to, what they're not, what their likes and dislikes are.
Yeah,
and you
I like
get graded.
that. So it's just a series of levels, different couples, different relationships, and they each start with the other person just going, it's just like reeling off the things
I like
they
eggs.
like.
I hate hats. I hate blue. I like dark blue. Yeah.
Exactly. Then you've just got a bunch of tools at your disposal.
Yeah, then make the perfect evening for this person.
Yeah, just schedule it out, and you've got a budget, and they might have said like, don't spend too much money, but you didn't hear it properly, or
Okay, so I'm picturing that you're a date planner. And what's actually happened is you've got 3 separate dates that you got to plan for the night, but you've mixed up all your you've dropped your papers and they're all sort of mixed up. So you got to try and remember what each person.
Well, or I like that,
disliked.
but even if it's just you hear from all 3 of them initially,
and
one after the other, and you kind of have to you have to remember and take notes that Bradley was allergic to shellfish.
Yeah.
And Jessica really likes romantic candlelit dinners, but Frederick, let's go to Frederick, doesn't like candlelit dinners and is actually very scared of fire.
Yeah.
So don't get those mixed up. And then, it's about like scheduling out the whole evenings or all those evenings.
And you could also be hearing from both people in each couple. So you're like, oh, okay, well, this person likes this. How can I make a thing that satisfies that without triggering any of the hates of the person that they're dating as well?
Yeah. I like that a lot.
And maybe they are some mismatched couples as well. So that the one who hates fire is going out with the one who loves candlelit dinners.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful as to...
You have to find one of those fake candles. That's just the little piece of cloth with a like air blower under it.
Yeah.
An orange piece of cloth.
Yeah.
A poster of some candles or something.
I'm picturing this in a very pixel art style for some reason.
Okay. I guess I was just imagining Sims.
Oh, yeah. yeah, that could work too.
Or like watching them, I guess, play out a simulation of
Papers,
the date.
Please, I was thinking. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, Papers, Please, definitely.
Yeah, just that sort of style with the different people coming up and kind of telling you the things.
Yeah.
And then, you would want to see it play out to some degree, I suppose, which does make it a bit more difficult there. But yeah, or maybe they just come and tell you after the fact of what they thought of the date.
Yeah. That's probably fine. You just see a meter of their happiness.
If you went well, you get some great like MIDI porn music. 70s porn music with heavy bass.
The ultimate reward.
Yeah, definitely. They boned. That's it. That's all we wanted for them.
Mm.
It turns out you're Will Smith the whole time.
Hitch.
Hitch, yep.
So it's a hitch simulator.
Yeah, totally.
On the Switch.
Yeah.
Hitch on the Switch. That's what we call it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
That's fine. All right, let's do one more and then we'll jump into our final segment.
Yep. Accident.
Distraction.
Epileptic.
Oh, no. It writes itself just about.
Yeah, I know. There's some sort of big flashing light distraction or flashing light thing, and you've got to distract the epileptics so they don't, they don't look at it.
So they don't cause an accident, yeah.
How do you distract them?
Not with flashing lights. Sounds, smells.
Yeah. You've got to distract them very subtly and calmly. So
it's be hard to make a game of. Epileptic is a tough one.
Very tough.
I'm trying to think of how you could, in a positive way, use epilepsy as a gameplay mechanic, or at least a factor in the gameplay.
Epileptic could just be a kind of bit of a weird character slang to just mean lots of flashing lights and over the top sort of visual.
That's true. It could just be describing the game itself.
Yeah.
What was your word, Trevor?
In other words, accident.
Yeah, accident. Okay. So maybe it is just a game where it's a driving game where you're trying to distract the player and cause an accident. That's the challenge for the player.
Yeah.
Is there's all sorts of shit going on all the time and they just have to watch the road.
Yeah.
Because you can use strobe lights and that sort of stuff, it's really not suitable for people with epilepsy to
that's
play.
it. Yeah. No, yeah.
But that sounds like a good party game, actually, where one person is trying to perform like a simple task, driving or platforming or whatever it is, but the other people just have these incredibly distracting abilities that they can trigger to cause flashes and stuff all over the place to make it really hard for them to see what's going on, and you're just trying to basically cause them to mess up. Yeah,
I like that, actually. I like that as maybe like I'm trying to think what the best sort of gameplay would be. Platforming is interesting. Maybe like a shoot 'em up or something would be really difficult.
Yeah.
Because they're already trying to dodge these trails of bullets and things, and then all of a sudden there's a bright flash in the corner. It's like, is that a bullet? Oh no! Damn it! Yeah, shake the screen and stuff. That's kind of neat.
I do like that.
Yeah. I wonder if it's actually a multiplayer thing then, and it's that those are the sort of power-ups you get to mess with the other people. Because I'm just thinking it's probably not that interesting for the people who aren't doing the playing. If they sort of have to wait for their recharge meter on their special attacks to just shine a light on the screen.
Well, maybe they've got more than one, so that you've got to maybe wait for like the big flash or the strobe effect. But you can also like put down inside the driving game. You can put down like roadworks or something like that just to divert them off into something else.
Yeah, that's still a distraction, I guess.
Yeah, I think just the core thing of trying to distract them could be more than just the flashing and stuff, but trying to put up things that look like for a second a game element that kind of misleads them to go the wrong way, or that to think that's a bad guy, or that it's a hazard, or that it's not a hazard, covering up hazards.
I love that idea that in a racing game you can put down a fake like directional arrow where they're usually telling you where the track is going. Yeah. If you just do it at the right time, it's subtly different than the actual ones, but if you do it at the right time, they just veer off into nowhere, off a cliff.
It's a slightly different shade of orange.
Yeah, or just like slightly different pattern to the flashing lights or something.
You could have, say, one person who's on the team of the driver and one person who's not. And both of those people are the ones that have got the map telling them where the car actually has to go. And so you're trying to figure out which one of these guys is directing you the right way and which one's just trying to mess you up and give you a longer lap time.
Yep.
And you're just laying out these direction arrows in front. And maybe, you'll, in things like that, people will end up kind of developing a weird shorthand of like, I'll just spawn heaps of things to try and say, look, pay attention to me. I'm the real guy. Where if all you've got is just spawning these arrows, like people develop weird kind of tics and language of using that just one mode of expression to try and communicate with each other.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, particularly if they've got a few different arrow types or like different things they can do with the arrows. Maybe they can move them in certain ways once they're on the map or I like that. When I put down a right arrow and I flash the screen once, that means, actually turn right. But
yeah.
It actually means turn right at the second sheep.
Well, I like the idea that the other person would start picking up on those too. So you're constantly having to evolve.
He's copying it.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, well, I think we'll leave that one there. When we have a guest on, Barney, we do one extra segment.
Ooh.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the name of your game, and I think we'll use regular human basketball, because that's what you're working on currently. And we're going to throw away everything you know about that game, which is a lot considering you are one of the two people making it.
Yeah.
And we're going to come up with a new game that would have that title.
Okay.
That matches that title, but that is not your game. So, regular human basketball, go. That's a game. Trevor, do you have something to start with? Because it's probably a bit hard for Barney to actually disassociate himself initially from it.
Yes.
What comes into your mind?
What comes into my mind is aliens.
Yes. Okay.
So, they've captured, say, like the American All-Star team.
Okay.
And they're really fascinated by this sport of basketball.
Wait, what's it called? Basketball. Yeah.
So they bring this American team to their planet to see their version of basketball and see what's actually going wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're there trying to fix basketball for these aliens, and they literally call it regular human basketball. Like that's their name for it.
Oh, maybe so you could have, it's something a bit like NBA Jam or something, but like every time you have a game, a bunch of the rules have been just randomly kind of change because the aliens don't know the rules. And so you've got to play, but also be trying to figure out, why did I just lose a point there? Why? Oh, okay. It turns out they think that you're not allowed to, you can only shoot from this distance, or, you're only allowed to do that.
You can't bounce the ball an odd number of times before shooting. You've got to always...
Exactly.
It's always got to be an even amount.
And why are there 3 balls in play right now?
Exactly.
I'm not quite sure what's happening.
This big list of these kind of potential rules that are just randomized each match, and you've got to kind of play against the aliens and not lose just through not being able to figure out and, constantly getting fouls and losing points and stuff.
Because the aliens know the rules.
Yeah.
And of course,
so
you've got to try and
them.
avoid all the spike traps that they've added in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the aliens have, 10 tentacles. They're really good at blocking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that could be really interesting.
And just like trying to kind of observe the aliens for a bit to see, what rules is he? Okay, he's...
how did they just get 300 points?
Yeah.
Twice. Wait, no, I see a pattern emerging.
Yeah.
It's only when he uses his 5th tentacle. Oh, well, that's not going to make it easy.
That's not going to work for us.
Wait, does that mean I have to shoot with my dick?
I guess it is the human 5th tentacle.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the idea that you can sort of create that narrative around. Well, my mind went to just in a very Space Jam way, that it was a single basketball player had been taken and was sort of trying to teach basketball. But no, I like that idea of, well, and I mean, maybe even it could just be that you are the single basketball player, because it might make it a bit more fair if you can observe your own team members as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe your goal is just to not offend them and, have them kind of look down on you for, just not offend them. So act like, this is definitely regular human basketball. And so if you don't abide by their weird rules, they'll kind of, realize that they've got it wrong. They'll be very disheartened.
Offended. Yeah, they'll be very upset. They start bawling. Not bawling like basketball,
No.
Tears.
But the problem is their tears are acidic, so...
Right. You don't want them to get too upset because the whole court will collapse.
Yeah.
And actually, we're not even playing on a court. We're on the back of a giant elephant, so it's really...
But so they'll just be shedding big pools of damaging acid over the thing as you fail to learn the rules and show them that they got it wrong the whole time.
And then the new game plus is you have to go back to Earth and convince everyone of these new rules.
And that becomes the new version of regular human basketball.
Exactly.
So you just call that one Basketball 2.
Yeah.
It's the Basketball the sequel.
Basketball the sequel.
This time it's personal.
Electric Boogaloo.
All right. Well, on that pretty awesome note, I think we'll leave it there tonight. Thank you for joining us, Barney. That was a lot of fun.
No worries. Cheers, guys. Yeah, that was heaps of fun.
Do you want to just let our listening audience know where they can find you online and see your work?
Yeah, sure. So our website is powerhoof.com, or you can look at Twitter. I think most of our updates these days are all on Twitter, so just at Powerhoof on Twitter, and you can see whatever we're up to with our latest games, which is, just finishing off regular human basketball, which will be, we're doing online multiplayer for this one, so it's taking a little bit more testing, but pretty much ready to go, and it'll be on Steam pretty soon.
Great.
I just realized that we've talked a little bit about regular human basketball, except for what makes regular human basketball actually special compared to regular human basketball, because we never discussed that at the start.
I can do the sort of quick explanation of the game. I mean, it's basically incredibly regular basketball. So you run around inside big robots, and you're a small kind of platforming character, I guess, and each robot is a little platforming environment with a bunch of switches in it, and you have to run around in there with your teammates and flick those switches in order to control the human to move, pick up the ball, get over the other human, get the ball in the hoop. And so it's a bit of a co-op type of thing in the end, of you just trying to do a pretty simple thing, but through the kind of physics and the sort of weird controls, it's kind of pretty challenging. I think if you've got perfect communication with your teammates, it's quite efficient, but you just never have perfect communication at all, and so you just wind up upside down. And a bit of it was from actually me sort of seeing like a few very early shots of Love is in a Dangerous Space-Time at one point, and being like just assuming and just kind of thinking, oh, yeah, okay, that's going to be cool, and you're going to flip upside down, and the characters will fall everywhere. And then when I realized that that's not what it is, I was like, oh, I much prefer my like wrong assumption about what that is. And I think I do that a lot. Like that's actually a pretty useful design tool, is to
definitely
just learn a very small amount about a game and then fill in all the blanks with whatever you reckon is cool, and then realize, oh no, that's like, I think Binding of Isaac at one point someone had told me about, and I got so excited about some of the ideas in it that I was like, shit, I really don't want to go and learn any more about this, or it'll kill like all this kind of, inspiration that I'm getting from what I'm imagining this thing is, but it almost definitely actually isn't.
That's great. I feel like that should be a new segment on Bitstorm, is we find some obscure or some really brand new game and just send the other person a screenshot of it, and then we come up with a game from that.
Fill in the blanks, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then you got something to compare it to at the end of like, okay, well, this is what it actually
This is what it actually is. Yeah. That's cool.
I remember playing regular human basketball at PAX last year and laughing my ass off. Just no one was communicating at all because it was on on
the show floor
and it's just impossible to talk to. And the fact that you had 8 controllers set up was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a very good game to show on the show floor things. It's like there's not too many rules to learn, and you've got heaps of players crowding around. So yeah, it's super fun showing it there.
Yeah, the team that I was on never scored a goal. We got scored on a couple of times. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that either you or Dave were playing on the other side.
Yeah. You often get little kids coming along and kind of playing once or twice and being like, oh, this is cool. And then just coming back and just like schooling everybody, like over the course of the, the weekend, they've just like played it heaps and become really good, and they'll just hang around there like making fools of everyone else.
It's awesome.
All right. Well, if you want to find us, we are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Bitstormcast, and all of those. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Bitstorm. We're on YouTube. Search for Bitstorm there. And we are also on Podchaser, podchaser.com/Bitstorm.
We're also on iTunes, where you can rate, review, and subscribe. We've got a website, bitstormcast.com. I'd like to plug our friends, AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just search for #AGPN on Twitter or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Finally, we'd like to thank Zencastr, actually, because they've provided us with the amazing recording services today. So zencastr.com. Check them out. They've got a pretty cool free recording level. And we'd also like to thank Kuridas for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
All right. So thank you again, Barney, for joining us this week.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I've been Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm Barney Cumming.
All right. And
I just want to get back to my crossword. Stop killing all these fucking people.